Hello Whiskey Gourmands, welcome to Whiskey Whistle. I'm your host Mark. Today on Whiskey Review number 89, we're going to look yet again at the Deanston Distillery, this time in the form of Deanston 12-year-old. And here it is. It is also 46.3%. It's unchill filtered and natural color. This pretty much has all of what we want from a single malt Scotch whiskey, especially for the price that we pay for it these days. Let's get that poured, shall we? There we are. That's roughly about 30 milliliters. There. Now, first of all, color-wise, have a look at that. What a beautiful shade of gold that is. And you can't see that, but I can. There are very tiny, tiny particles evident in this whiskey. And, you know, some people may be concerned with that, but let's just remember, we want the whiskey to be as natural as possible. Of course, we don't want chunks of cask or pieces of wood stuck in there, but absolutely perfectly clear, especially with ice added, is not something that needs to be really desired from a whiskey. What you lose in flavor for that added benefit of clarity just simply isn't worth it. So enjoy the whiskey at its natural state, such as this one. I really wish you could get a close-up of that one, because you really do see just the odd little bit of something in there. Okay. Now, if you're not aware of this distillery, if you don't know, if you've never heard of it before, have a look at the previous review. That was Whiskey Review number 88 for the Virgin Oak from Deanston, and I introduced the distillery and talked a lot about it. This time we will just get straight into the nosing and the tasting, okay? Before the nose, however, we will have a very short word from our sponsors. Here it is. Welcome back. Let's get on to the nose for Deanston 12-year-old. It's quite mature, a little bit leathery, very sweet. There's also quite a vibrancy to it. It's not difficult to smell, but you're really getting quite a, almost like a mentholic effect on your nose as you give it a whiff. Very nice. What did I write here? Herbal, grassy, vanilla, and honey on the nose. Yeah. Anything else there? Pretty big on the honey. There's a little bit of dried fruits in there, and I think I want to say that a portion of this has been matured in sherry casks, and a portion in first fill bourbon. Okay, let's get on to the palate. Cheers, everybody. This also has quite an effervescency to it. So I really do feel a strong relationship in the house style between the Virgin Oak and the 12-year-old Virgin Oak right here, by the way. We'll compare those towards the end. We'll try that one more time for the taste. And again, the second time you go in there, your mouth becomes a little bit acclimatized to the particular flavors that are coming through. Anyway, I write here honey sweetness, and then keeping it in your mouth, you get that the hint of dryness and sourness, and also some of that sparkling sort of character that it has. Flavors, what kinds of flavors am I tasting? Honey and ginger, cinnamon and clove, and with time you get some anise. This is from my notes from yesterday. There's a bit of baseball glove going on in there. I played when I was young, and sometimes you would, I don't know, just chew out a little bit. It might have been partially the salt from your hand, but there's that little bit of leathery note in that baseball glove, and that's what I'm getting here. Interesting. Finish-wise, it is quite long. It's long. It's long and it's long. It is malty rich. You also get some crisp apples as well as toffee and spices that carry on. Let's try it with water now, and we'll have another short advertisement right here. Welcome back. Let that mix up a little bit. Yeah, not quite there yet. We'll give that a minute. Now, I hope you'll stay tuned right till the end of the show, because I am going to do something interesting here. I have Deanston 12-year-old, Deanston Virgin Oak. I have J&B, and I also have some Lot 40 hanging back here. And we're going to try to see if we can make a, we'll call it a global whiskey. Okay, so stay tuned for that. Are we all mixed? I would say yes. Okay, so let's give that a smell now with water. There's a bit of a dry sauna. You know, the dry sauna's got the rocks in the corner that are being heated, and the walls, the floor, the door, everything is made of cedar. A little bit of wood smoke as well. And honey is still prevalent here. Smells a little bit like baklava. Baklava, the Grecian dessert made of phyllo pastry, and honey and nuts. Very nice. Let's try that now with water. Cheers all. It's totally tamed the beast. Very smooth. You get more spices. I also wrote here more ball glove, and it's also slightly drier. The finish is pretty much the same, still quite dry and yet very malty. It's very rich and it's still very active, so there's still something going on my tongue right now. That's this effervescence that seems to be a real feature of the Deanston distillery and the malts that they make. You also get more vanilla coming through with water and also with time. So that's great. Well, let's get on to the scoring for Deanston 12-year-old, the WhiskyWhistle whiskey score. For Deanston 12-year-old at 46.3 ABV, unchill filtered and natural color, that is going to be what is it going to be? It's going to be 89 out of 100. And I've nicknamed this one the cough remedy. It's got enough herbal essence as well as honey. So honey and herbs and a little bit of effervency. So I think that's really uplifting. And this would be a very perfect dram for if you feel the onset of a cold and you're going to make yourself a hot toddy, or even just have it neat and slightly warmed. Okay. Honey and herbs with complexity to spare is what I've written. And those of you who have been following the WhiskyWhistle whiskey reviews, you'll know that I do like the leather notes coming through in older whiskeys. And it's present in this one, and I quite like that. So excellent job. Great work to the Deanston Distillery and their 10 craft staff, the craft workers that are busy making this one. Keep pumping it out. Okay. I'd really like to try the 18-year-old. There's also a 20-year-old on the market. So if you've tried any of those and you want to recommend them to me, please leave a comment. Don't forget to like the video, and also if you have watched until this point, then that means you've liked what you've seen, I would think. So why not subscribe? And you can do that by clicking the link right down here in the corner. So take your finger just like me and just go like this. Boop, boop. And you'll be subscribed, okay? Well, thanks for tuning in. This has been WhiskyWhistle, and I'm your host, Mark. Oh, right. Before we finish, we're going to present our little global whiskey cocktail. Okay, so I'm going to take a base of J&B, to which I am going to add a little bit of Deanston 12-year-old and a little bit of the Virgin Oak, and a good measure of Lot 40 Canadian whiskey. There we are. Okay, we have to let that mix up a little bit. You know, if you do mix whiskeys like this, you certainly want to leave it maybe for a day or two so that the flavors can mix and meld, and even new flavors can be generated. Well, what do you get? You get a spicy Scotch infused with rye, and the backbone is still J&B. And what happens on the palate? It's rich and smooth, spicy and sweet. Covers all the bases there. And whatever sorts of blemishes were noticed in any of the individual whiskeys, the pros, the attributes of each have lended itself to one another, and really minimized all of the faults, all of the cons of each. You've got the salty and peatiness from J&B. Spices from Lot 40 from the rye whiskey coming through. And a big malt injection is coming in from Deanston. A big herbal malty injection. Very, very nice. I can't give that a score, but I quite like that. I'm going to save that one and come back to it tomorrow and see how it's progressed. Anyway, thanks for tuning in. Don't forget to subscribe and stay tuned for Whiskey Review number 90 coming next. Take care now. Goodbye.